Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Iyun with Benzion. Today we're analyzing Kesubos Memvav number 46. I want to talk today about Motzi Shemer, which is most of this stuff talks about. There's two punishments for Motzi Shemer. If you defame a girl and you're proven to be lying about that, you have two punishments. You get Malchus, I assume 39 Malchus, and you also get 100, you get double the fee of Onis Mafata, 100 silver coins. Now, where do we know? Where's the Azhara, right? Where in order to get Malchus, you need to have Azhara. You have to be warned of that, right? So the Gemara brings two sources. The Gemara says, right? Lo Selich Rachel, everyone's famous pasuk about Lashon Hara, right? You shouldn't be a gossip monger. You shouldn't go around like a peddler, talking about people. This is to a pasuk in Dvarim. It's talking about, and Sefer Dvarim is talking about you should watch yourself from any bad thing. So the Gemara Darshan is dibora, saying something bad. That's the azhara. Now the problem with this is Nishmartim Kol Ra is Shimor. It's an essay. I mean Nishmartim Kol Ra. It's not an essay. It's a lavam kol essay. A lavam kol essay is din kol essay. It's like an essay. It's our essay. It's not a lav. No, azhara needs to be a lav. You have to warn someone to get malchus. So how could you learn it out from there? That's one question. Then towards the bottom of the daf, the Gemara says, "Machlokas Eliezer ben Yaakov and the Rabbanan." Right? When you were Motzi Shemer, do you actually have to be together with your wife and see that she doesn't have psulim, or can you just rely on Edom that saw that she committed adultery as an Aram Rasa? So, according to Eliezer ben Yaakov, you have to actually have bia. But according to the Rabbanan, who we seem to paskin like, you don't have to. So, the Gemara has a lot of questions on the Rabbanan because the psukim seem to imply that Lo Matzatzi Lebiska Psulim, that he was together with her. So one of the questions the Gemara says, what do you do with these two psukim? It sounds like he was together with her. So the Rabbanan answer, right, so there's two sins over here. He came towards her with alilos, pretenses, false claims. With words. Is there a difference between pretenses and words? I mean, he's basically fine for, he's punished for being Moshe Shem, for defaming her. So it's clear from the Gemara that you have to actually tell Adam to come and testify against this girl, Motzi Shemra. The Gemara says, you have to actually hire them, pay them financially in order to come. We don't probably from passing like Rehuda, but the Rabbanan say you have to actually tell them. If they come on their own volition, you're not responsible. You're not fined for that. You're not penalized for that, the husband. So you have to tell them to come. And there's a general question, Lav Shem Maisa, how do you get Malchus, right? He's only saying something in Basin. So the Gemara really calls it Akima Sfasa. What does Akima Sfasa mean? He moves his lips. Akima Sfasa? No. Akima Sfasa, on account of his lips, there's an Akima, there's a movement of somebody else. Meaning by him telling Adam to go and testify, he is making those Adam move. The Adam are doing a Maisa. They're going up from wherever they were living and walking all the way to Basin and testifying. Of course, they're testifying with their words, but they're walking to Basin. So he caused a Maisa through his words. And that's the Gemara really means when it talks about in Bava Metzia, when it talks about whether you can be chayiv for muzzling an animal by telling an animal to stop eating or something like that. Akima swasa, right? You're causing an action. The cause an action to happen through your mouth is not the same thing as just speaking. Speaking is a lav shem ma'isa. Dibur lav shem ma'isa. Akima swasa, right? You're causing an akima. You're causing a movement through your lips. That is considered a ma'isa. So. So first of all, he's hiring these Adam to come to Basin, and then the second thing is the actual words that they're saying, which are not true, right? Which are defamation. There's defamation. So I like to suggest that really Rebbe Lezer and Rav Nassan are really saying different makoros, but they really have to agree with each other. And one, Rebbe Lezer lo selech rachel, that's the azhara for the malchus, and v'nishmarta mikol davar ra, that's the azhara for the mammon, because mammon, whether it's a knas or it's not a knas over here, it's not an ordinary punishment over 100 silver coins. It's just one thing. Depends. Doesn't matter who she is, what she is. 100 silver coins is a standard punishment. I would assume it's a knas. It's a punishment. And for a knas, maybe you need an azhara also. Maybe you need a warning also, even though it's considered mammon. It's not just a restitution. It's also actually mammon. So when Ishmartim called over, it's not really malchus, so you don't need an azhara for it, but you need a warning. So an essay serves as a warning for the mammon. Ishmartim called over, and Loselech Rachiel is talking about the Maisa, which is to get the malchus for hiring these, for telling these people to come to base, and Akima Sfasav. Now, the two parts of the Motzi Shemra is One is that you're getting the Adim to come to base, and then two is that you're telling them to lie. I mean, you're hiring Adim that are lying. So that's when Ishmartim called over us. So you pay the money for the defamation, for what the words they say in Basin, and hiring them to come to Basin. Let's say the basically that's what you're doing. Well, what is the connection in Motzi Shem? Let's say the Let's say the I mean, you shouldn't be a gossip monger. You shouldn't be a peddler who goes from one town to another town. When you're a peddler and you're selling perfumes or you're selling tchotchkes, you're selling those watches, the $5 Rolexes in Manhattan, you're going from one place to another. So basically what you're doing is you're taking stories from people. All you talk about, you're one of those people that's what the Torah talks about. Let's say you shouldn't be one of these people that your whole life is just going around picking up stories about this person and relating them to other people and just talking about other people, because the Torah wants you to talk about yourself. Most importantly, don't involve yourself so much with other people. Yes, if you have something bad to say, if you have something bad, negative information about somebody else, you could talk about it. I'm going to say it out straight because this is what I believe. And, there is a Sefer Chavetz Chaim, and for me to argue on the Sefer Chavetz Chaim, I can't. La halacha. Chavetz Chaim is the halacha. That's the accepted halacha. It's like the Mishnah Berurah is the accepted halacha. And the Sefer Shmiras HaLashon is an accepted Sefer, which tells about the halachas of Lashon Hara. I mean, I asked Rav Rosh Hashanah, I said, what? The Shulchan Aruch doesn't know about Lashon Hara. Where all of a sudden, in the beginning of the 20th century, Chavetz Chaim puts out a sefer, Alechos Lashon Hara. We never found it. He said, Makom Inichlo Ben Hashamayim. The Gemara says they left a place for him in Hashamayim. But it is very astounding that none of Shulchan Aruch talks about Alechos Lashon Hara. Only the Chavetz Chaim starts talking about it. And I believe in the first tenet that the Chavetz Chaim says that Lashon Hara afil al emes. He proves it from the Rambam. If you say something negative about another person, it's Lashon Hara. And this is the whole movement we have in the whole world now, in the Jewish world. You can't say something negative about somebody else, even if it's true. And there's no makor for this in the Torah. He proves it from but Moti Shemra is where you're lying and you're saying defamation. Just look at secular law. So look at the secular law. There's defamation, right? Or libel. Libel where you write something falsely about somebody, or defamation, or you spread rumors falsely about somebody else, which cause him physical or emotional or financial distress. Those should be punishable. If you say something true about something, you have freedom of speech. I believe that American freedom of speech. I'm a constitutionalist. I don't know. I hold by the Constitution. You have free speech, life, liberty, and the freedom of speech. We're given the freedom of speech. You don't have the freedom of speech. If you can't say something negative of somebody else, then you lost your ability to argue with people and to have opinions. You can't have opinions. If you can't say something negative of somebody else, right? That's what happens. These people, these people that are tzaddikim, they can't talk about anything. Majorly you start talking about something else, and it's important to find out something else. You can't talk anymore. You have to shut your mouth because Lashon Hara, everything. You're just mentioning a person's name. If you're going to say good or bad about it, Lashon Hara, oh gosh, Lashon Hara. Crazy. People are nuts about this Lashon Hara. They take it way overboard. And people who are actually machmir Lashon Hara, they literally do not have normal communication with other people, and they live not normal lives, and you have to be able to talk negatively about other people. The Torah does warn about being a gossip monger, which means your whole life, there are people like this. They always love to talk about other people, a juicy story about somebody else. If that's the fundamental of your life, talk about yourself. Talk about your milas, your stories. Talk about yourself. Don't talk about other people all the time. If you can do it all the time, we'll say the and that's what it means over here. When you're telling Adam to come to Basin, right? You're getting other people involved. You're telling, my wife that I married. You know what she did to me. You're hiring Aiden. You're one of those gossip mongers. So you're a gossip monger. That's you're getting other people involved. That's what you get the malchus for. That's a kimas svasa. And when they come in the basin and they say the words, the most they defame her with words, so that you can't get malchus for that. It's lav shema ma'isa. However, you could get penalized monetarily, because monetarily you don't need lav shema ma'isa. You can get money, you can be penalized with money. It's just malchus. You can't get lav shema ma'isa in local law. The Gemara says malchus. That's the conclusion of today's share. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.